Okay, good morning. Today we would like to work on a logo, and let me show you what it's going to look like. It's going to look something like one of these right here, and I did these on paint.net, and since we have Chromebooks now, we are doing on Pixlr because paint.net is not for Pixlr. So let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to create a new, and I'm going to go full HD, and I'm going to name it logo. I may be going kind of fast on this, so if I'm going too fast for you, just pause and then catch up and then start it again. Okay, I would like to start by dumping some color into this background. Get the fill bucket, dump some white in there. I want to create a new layer, and it's going to be a text layer, and I'm going to type in my initials, JM. Now it's white because my color is white, so I got to change this color right here to black, and it'll show up. And notice it's nice and big. I can change the font size right here, and that's how I would make it bigger or smaller. Notice I've got a special font called Raider Crusader, and I installed this by downloading the font and then going to this button down here and adding local font right down here. That's how I got Raider Crusader. You can get that on the internet, or if you have my class, you can go into my webpage and I've got it right here for you to download. So it's a matter of downloading it. Then when you're in Pixlr, clicking on the font and going down to the button down here and adding it. Okay, so we want Raider Crusader. Next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this. So I'm going to click on this here, and I'd like to duplicate it right down there by the trash can and duplicate that layer. Okay, so I have two of these now. I have a copy and I have the original here. Okay, what I'd like to do is I'd like to make the copy a little bit smaller. So I'm going to click on the copy here, and I'm going to change the size of this just to around, I don't know, 400 or 500. I just want to make it a little bit smaller. Now, I know you can't barely see it behind here, but what we could do is we could change the opacity of, whoops, we're getting some errors here. It sometimes Pixlr does some crazy things. And look right here, it's changed the name of this. And I'm going to put the name back in. I don't know why I did that, so I'm sure it'll be fine. So the copy version, I'd like this to be gray. So I'm going to click back on here and change the color of this to gray. It's like a medium gray, maybe a little darker than that. Hit OK. And I want to move this one on top so I can see the gray one right below it. And I'm going to move these, so I want to be able to see some of the corners of these letters. And I'm just kind of going to move it so I could see some of the corners of the letters. Okay, I think that's okay right there. You know, if I don't feel like I could see the corners very well, and you can go back and look at my example. Whoops, not that one. Right here. You can see the gray behind here is a little bit smaller. So I want to kind of make it look like that. So you may have to change the sizes just a little bit to get it, to look the way you want it to look, and just kind of fool around with it until you get what you think it looks right compared to my example. Okay, so I'm just going to say this looks okay to me. Again, I can fool around with it and change it a little bit. It looks fine. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to add a new layer. And I want this layer to be called an outline layer, but we're going to make it an empty layer. And I'm going to name it and call it outlines. Got that. Now what I want to do is I want to connect all these corners with a line. But before I do that, I'm going to go back to my JM and I change the transparency of that so I can kind of see through it a little bit. Okay, you see that? I can kind of see through it. And I want to connect my corners. Now, if this gets a little too confusing for you, come back and make it completely opaque. And then what you can do is you can connect the corners and then go back, if you need to, go back and do the other translucency, the transparency. Okay, so we want to go to the shape tool here, and we want to be on outlines first of all, and we want to go to the shape tool, and we want to go to the line tool at the top. We want to make the stroke 2 point, and I'm going to make this black. Now what I want to do is I want to draw from this corner to this corner for each of these. And notice I'm dragging from all the corners here, and I'm going to drag from black corner to the gray corner. I'm doing this rather quickly. I want you guys to try to be a little bit more careful to do a good job on this. Now this one right here gets tricky. We may have to wait on this one right here because we can't really see what's going on back there. And see this one right here also, I think I have to go to this corner. So we can check that all out also. And let's go to this corner. Now that one is wrong. I'm going to Z back. I got to get this corner matches up with this corner right here. There we go. That's better. This one right here, we're not going to draw those corners because we're going to fill this in with gray. And I could paint it in myself. I could get the paintbrush and paint this in. And I may not need to do that. I think we're okay. Now the only corner we don't have is this corner right here, is because I can't see back there. So that's where I want to change my transparency here. So I can draw, and again, it gets a little confusing. I want to draw from this corner to the back corner there. So maybe I got to change the transparency. Okay, and then I want to go here and draw right there, just like that. That's the one. Oops, I didn't get it very close here. Let's try that again. It's a little better. Okay, so that helped me draw that line right there because I couldn't see anything. So I've got all my lines drawn back. The next thing I want to do is I want to kind of outline this gray area right here. I want to outline the back of it and connect these points. You see how I'm doing that? I'm just connecting those points right there. And I'm going to do it right here. I want to get that gray outlined. And right here. And it's okay if I go right through the letter. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay. That one's not very good, so I'm going to undo it and try it again. And if it's a little bit messed up, I can always go back and fix it, erase it. Now I'm not going to outline anything in here because I really can't see the corner. So I'm not going to outline that. I don't see it enough to outline it. I'm not going to worry about any of that. Okay. What I want to do is I want to outline these shapes right here, these shapes. And I've only got the portion from here and the gray portion. I need this portion right there. But to outline that, I can't really see. If I draw a black line on this, I'm not going to be able to see this and get it precise. So I'm going to try this again. I'm going to try to change the transparency so it's a little bit lighter so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I'm going to outline this. You see, I'm just outlining these three-dimensional shapes. That's what I'm trying to do. Oh, that one wasn't very good. Well, I might have to go back and do a little erasing there. And see, I'm even outlining right here because I want to get these shapes completely enclosed. So right here, I've got to enclose that shape completely. I think that's okay. Let's see, this shape here is almost about, I forgot to do this corner right here. Look at this right here. I didn't do that. I've got to get that. So I'm going to outline this shape right there. Okay, so I've got that shape completely outlined. Now I've got to get this one completely outlined. And I got that shape outlined. Now I want to do this one right here. Let's see, does it end right there? And I'm going to go ahead and outline. So I'm going to go all the way here. It'd be okay if we do that. Now I've got this one left to go, and I'm going to go up. And I'm going to go ahead and close it completely right here because we're not going to see some of that. So I've got these shapes outlined. So if I turn these off, you can kind of see how I've got the shapes completely outlined. This one right here needs a little bit more, doesn't it? I might have to go back and erase a little bit of that, clean it up some. So I've got those completely outlined now, and you can see that. And I'm going to change the opacity back, and you can see what I've got here. Okay, this line right here, I don't think that should be there. I don't think we should see that line whatsoever. So what I might want to do is go back to the outlines and get my eraser and just erase that. Whoops, I think my eraser was too big. Look at that, I got it way too big. Gotta get that thing down, and I want the softness to be all the way, I want it to be kind of like hard edge. And I can erase that. I think I got something right there too. Okay. So now you can see how I have the three-dimensional part to this. The next thing I want to do is I want to fill the inside of my J. Okay, and I want to do that with a texture. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to turn off my outlines, and I better keep my background on. I'm going to add a layer, and we're going to add an image layer, and I'm going to select one of my images that I got from the internet, make it nice and big. We've done this in class before, so you guys should be able to do this with no problem. Okay, and I'm going to move this up here, and actually I'll move this to the top. Now what I want to do is I want to get my magic wand and select this. And if you remember, if you have an A or an O or something and it closes, a letter that encloses a space, you have to hold the shift down and select that too. Now I want to go back to my image and get my eraser. This time we'll make it really big. Before it was really big, now I can make it really big again. And I want to erase everything here. So I got it all erased. Okay. So now I'm going to deselect by going Command D or Control D. And I want to turn this off, and look what I got here. I'm going to add my outlines, and you see how I've got the outlined perspective on there now. Now, if I want, I could probably outline this lettering here for now, but I'm not going to do that. What I want to do is I want to just fill these areas on the outline. So I'm going to click on the outlines and get my color. I'm going to get some gray color. And I could fill, whoop, I got to get the paint bucket. I could fill each of these areas with gray. Now what I might want to do is, whoops, I got something wrong there. Looks like I might have a little area that's not filled properly. And so we've got something wrong there, and I need to look on my outline. So I'm going to turn this off here. Oh, when I erase that, look, I didn't close these areas here, and that causes a problem. So I need to close those areas. So let me show that to you again. So when I erase that, I caused an issue, didn't I? So let me turn that back on again, because when I fill in here, there's nothing to contain all that color. I've got nothing to contain it because I opened that up right there. So you see that? Whoop, and I opened that up. So an easy way to fix this would be just to make sure I have this outline completely done right here. I can go back to the outlines and get my my line tool and get this here, make it black. I can fix that, can't I? I got to make sure that these are closed. There we go. Now I could do that. I can close this one too. Now, the reason why you're not seeing all of this is because I have this turned on. So you see what I did? And it's not going to matter that these are a little bit off because we're not going to see them. So let me go back and get some gray in there and see if we did it. Okay, we did that one. We did that one. Okay. So you see what I did? I had to close those areas off. to make sure that they showed up properly. Okay. So now I've got my color in here. If I wanted to make some of these like a little bit different, I could make these a little bit different gray. Let's assume that my light is coming from a certain source and I have some lighter areas and darker areas. Okay, maybe my light's coming down from the top. So I could say this one here is going to be lighter and this one's going to be lighter. Okay, and I could say, well, that's right, because the light's coming from the top and the places down here will be darker. But maybe it'd be really dark under here. So maybe I could take that and change that to pretty dark. So maybe these under here would be really dark. I could do that. So you kind of just have to see what you want to do with that. You can try different colors and see what you think looks good, and that would be fine. Now you can also outline this right here. Now we don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to delete it. And we don't need this one anymore. And I'm going to delete that one. We just need these two, the outlines and the unnamed. That's what the name of the color was, unnamed. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to add a filter to that and add an outline. And I don't know if our outline is going to work properly or not. Sometimes I get this outline to work and sometimes it just doesn't want to work. And so I'm going to outline this right here, and I'm just going to outline it just, I don't know, 3-point apply. Now what I want to do is I want to take this right here, and I think we're good on that. We have our outlines done, so let's add a background. So I'm going to add an image background, and I want to add this night sky image. It looks pretty cool. I'm going to make it nice and big. I just thought this was a cool image. And we'll put this on top, and put that on top, and we have our lettering there. And I just want to add a little bit more lettering, and I was just going to add some text, and I'll change the size of that to make it much, much smaller, and I was going to change the color to white. I'm just going to type in my name. Okay, and oh, that might be a little bit too big. Okay, something's going on here, but I could change the size of that. Let's see if I can change the size of it. It doesn't seem to want to let me do it, because up here should be the size right here, and instead it's giving me the position, so it might be an error with the program. So let's leave it like that for now. And if I wanted to, I could, I can't add a filter to it, but I should be able to add an outline, but it's not saying that I have text. So it's probably a bug in the program. Okay, so that's it. I could probably move this up here. It might look better. A little darker. Shows the contrast. Okay, so that's it. Go ahead and save it as a JPEG, and that's what you will upload for your assignment. Or actually, you're going to download it now and then upload it to Google Classroom. Okay, that's it for today. I will talk to you guys later.